So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our part 2 of mathematics class. So in this mathematics class, we are simply going to solve the mathematics paper which was written last year. So today I'll start with question 2. So I'm going to solve all these questions, and then with time we might do another question. Can someone just kindly confirm with me if you guys are able to get me or not?
Yes, I'm able to get.
All right, thank you very much. So like I've already stated, in today's class I am going to solve question 2. Remember, in mathematics you need to know the principles, you need to know the basics, and then after that you can just be building up from there. So please make sure that you follow up the class and make sure that you are able to solve after this class. Okay, let's quickly look at number 1. Number 1 is saying simplify that, giving your answer in the form p plus q square root 2, and that carried 4 marks. So I'm going to write solution. And then I'll quickly start working on my work. So I have been given 3 minus 2 square root 2 over square root 2 minus 1. So in this case, what I have just been told is to conjugate that expression, to rationalize that expression. So to rationalize that expression, I'll need to find the conjugate of this guy there, the denominator. So I'm going to say times square root 2 plus 1 over square root 2 plus 1. Okay. So after doing that, I'm going to multiply the numerator by what I have done and also the denominator by what I've done. So I'm simply going to have 3 minus 2 square root 2 cross brackets, open bracket, square root 2 plus 1, and then open bracket, and then you have over. So if you look at the denominator, that's the difference of two squares. So I can just easily say square root 2 squared minus, and then this one I say 1 squared, like that. So with this being done, I can easily work out everything, where I'll multiply this by everything there. So I'll say 3 and then open bracket square root 2 plus 1 close bracket, and then I say negative 2 square root 2 open bracket square root 2 plus 1 close bracket, and then down there when I say square root 2 squared, the answer will simply be 2 minus, and then 1 squared will simply be 1. Ladies and gentlemen, at this particular point, do we have someone with a question so that we can move on? Do we have anyone with a question? Please feel free to ask. Okay, since we don't have any question, let's move on. So I'll say 3 times square root 2. So it's going to be 3 times square root 2. It's going to be 3 square root 2. 3 times square root 2. It's going to be 3 square root 2. And then I'll also multiply 3 by 1. So 3 by 1 is going to be 3. So it's going to be plus 3. And then I'll say negative 2 square root 2 times square root 2. It's just going to be negative 2 dots, which is multiplication by 2, because we know that square root 2 times 2, square root 2 times square root 2, the answer is just simply 2. Then square root negative 2 square root 2 times 1 is going to be negative 2 square root 2. Then you know this will be over 1, this will be over 1, so no need of writing an over there. So from there, this will be 3 square root 2. I'll put plus 3 there. Then negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. And then I'll say negative 2 square root 2. It will simply be negative 2 square root 2. Then I'll collect like terms. I'll say 3 square root 2 minus 2 square root 2, 2 square root 2, and then I'll have plus 3 minus 4. From that part, these guys are more like 3x minus 2x, which is just x. So it's going to be square root 2 and then minus 1. So this was the final answer for this particular question. So the parts which people make mistakes, let me just highlight the parts which people make mistakes to help you guys be able to be very careful. The first part is finding the conjugates. Here people tend to make mistakes. So this is the first part, people make mistake. The other part which people make mistake is multiplying this guy here with the one which has a square root 2. People normally make that mistake there. And also they make a mistake on the difference of two squares. So this is also a part which you need to give much attention as you are trying to solve. Then the other part which people make mistake is collecting the like terms. So this is also another part which people make mistakes. So these are just the few parts which people commonly make mistakes when doing their solving. So make sure that you are extremely careful. Okay, do we have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can move on question 2b? Any question? Okay, seems like we have a hand here from Eunice. Yes, Eunice, what's your question? Eunice, what's your question? Okay, we'll move on. And Frederick, do you have a question?
Yes, my question is on the final answer. In the question, it is stating that we should give our answer in the form p plus q square root 2. Aren't you supposed to write it as negative 1 plus square root 2? Because if I remember very well, on that part where we were requested to write the answer in form of a plus ib, the answer was left in that form instead of it being bi.
Yeah, you are correct. And yeah, you are very correct. And you can write it in that form. It's okay. Either ways is okay. But yeah, like according to what has been stated, you can simply write it in that form. So that p is 1, the invisible one there, and then square root 2 is still square root 2, and p is negative 1. That's also okay. Okay, we have another hand from Taonga. Yes, Taonga, what's your question?
Yes, how did you find the final answer?
How did I find?
The final answer to be root of 2 minus 1.
3 square root 3 3 square root 2 minus minus 2 square root 2 it's more like you have 3x minus 2x. So 3x minus 2x is the same as x. So that's how we arrived at 2x. Then 3 minus 4 is simply negative 1. Is that okay, Taonga?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, let's move on and look at the next question. So the next question is an easy question. So let's quickly say solution. So for this one, for those who haven't done this part, I'll make a lecture class specifically for these modulus functions or modulus equations. So we have 2, which is modulus of 3x minus 5, and then is equal to 11 minus x. So for modulus, we are trying by all means to get rid of the negative part, and in that case this can easily be split into 2. So we are going to say this can be 3x minus 5 is equal to positive or negative open bracket 11 minus x close bracket. So with this in mind, that simply means that we can split that guy into 2. So you have 3x minus 5 is simply equal to 11 minus x, or you can say 3x minus 5 is equal to negative 11 minus x. So these are the two equations that have been produced after trying to get rid of the modulus. So with that, we can easily work on this one. So let's quickly work on the first one. So the first one, it is you collect like them. So this will be 3x plus x. 3x plus x is equal to 11. 5 will go to the other side. It will be plus 5. So 3x plus x, it is simply 4x, and then this is equal to 11 plus 5, it is simply 16. You divide throughout by 4, you divide throughout by 4, that one and that one goes, x is simply 4. Or we go to the other side and try to solve the other side. So the other side is 3x minus 5. We'll we'll multiply there. So this will be 3x minus 5 is simply equal to negative times 11. It's negative 11. Negative times negative x, it is positive x. Then this will go to the other side. That will go to the other side. So this will be 3x minus x is simply equal to negative 11 plus c, negative 11 plus what? Plus 5. So that's what we have at that particular point. So when we try to work out this, we can simply say 3x minus x is simply 2x, and then this should be equal to negative 11 plus 5, it's simply negative 6, and then over 2, 2 and 2 will go, so x will simply equal to negative 3. So once you do this, you are not supposed to conclude from there and then. Instead, you need to go into the next step, which is testing. So you are going to start with what? Testing. So let's quickly look at testing and how you can do it. So testing, we are trying to test our answers. So let's say taking x is equal to 4, taking x is equal to 4. So where there is x, we are going to put 4. So you are going to say modulus 3 times 4 minus 5. The modulus is equal to 11 minus 4. So 3x minus times 4 is simply 12 minus 5, and then modulus is equal to 11 minus 4 is simply 7, and then the 12 minus 5 is simply the modulus of 7, and that is 7. So the modulus of 7 is simply 7, which is simply equal to 7. So this one is correct. So this answer is okay. Let's quickly test the other guy. So the other guy, we are going to say taking x is equal to -3. So we are going to write taking x is equal to -3. So when x is equal to -3, you plug in there, that will surely be 3 times -3, it's -9 minus 5, and then that one, then 11, there it will be, here it will be -3, so that will be 11 plus 3, which we can just simply say 11 plus 3, and then -9 plus minus 5, -9 minus 5, it will simply give us -14, to simply give us -14, and then is equal to, then we can put in 11 plus 3, 11 plus 3, remember this is 3, this will also be 14. So this guy is 14, and this one is also 14, because the modulus of -14 is 14. So this one is also the answer. So therefore the solution set is equal to x is equal to 4, and x is equal to -3. So that's how easily you can work out that particular question. Do we have any questions so far, ladies and gentlemen? Any question?
Sir, why is it that on -14 we had to change the sign to positive after removing the modulus, but there on -3 we never changed the sign?
-3 we never changed the sign. Which -3?
On -5 in the question, not -3, on -5, where it was written 3x minus 5.
3x minus 5. This part?
In the question, sir.
Here?
No, in the question, yeah, there, where it is written 3x minus 5 in the modulus, we never had to change the sign after moving the modulus, but here on 14, the sign was changed.
We are not supposed to change the sign for the question, because this is an equation. This is an equation, but this one is the answer. When you plug in a 3 there, a -3 there, this is what you are going to have. So this equation, you are first solving for x, then you test. So the reason why we are putting in there is because this is the answer when you put the the -3. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move on and look at the next one. So we can look at question 2b. So I'll write solution there. So these are things that you need to enjoy. Okay, you even need to know that this one I'll get it right. You don't even need to worry much. You just have to have that feeling that, okay, what I'm solving is right. And you just apply the right things. So look at this one again. Very simple. Very simple. So B1, so you have been given 4 plus 5i, then you have 2i cubed over, then you have 2 plus I squared. Look guys, from the principle for this part here, which is having a cubed, okay, we know that this can be written as 4 plus 5i close bracket plus 2i times I squared over, this one can be 2 plus I and then 2 plus what? I. Now you know something, which is the value of that guy there, the value of I squared. You all know what the value of I squared is. What is the value of I squared? Can someone try? What is the value of I squared? What is the value of I squared?
-1.
-1. So I squared is simply what? -1. So
-1.
-1.
alright, thank you. I squared is what? -1. So what you are going to say is, you're going to say 4 plus 5i and then plus 2i times -1 over, down there it will be 2 open bracket 2 plus I close bracket plus I open bracket 2 plus what? Plus I. Then after you do that, you can simply say 4 plus 5i minus 2i, because -1 times 2i, it's -2i, over 2 times 2, it is what? 4. 2 times I, it is positive 2i. I times 2, it is 2i. I times I, it's -1. Then after you reach that stage, your next step is now to do what I'm going to do. But do we have any questions so far? Any questions? Okay, no question. So you correct like terms. 4 plus 5i minus 2i, it's simply going to be 4. It's going to be 4 plus 3i. Then you say over, you say 4 minus 1 is simply 3, and then 2i plus 2i is simply what? 4i. Okay, I can hear there is a hand. Yes, what's your question? Yes, what's your question? What's your question? What's your question? Okay, so the next thing that you are...
Yes, so why did you put 2 outside?
Why did I put?
Why did you put the 2 outside?
Which 2? Here?
On the denominator there.
Yes. These 2?
Yes.
Okay. So here we are doing these 2. You multiply it by that. That's why we are having this part here. and then this I, we are multiplying it by that also. That's why we are having that guy there. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So the next part, you are going to multiply by the conjugates.
Yes, thank you.
You're going to multiply by the conjugates. So there you're going to say 3 minus 4i, and then over, you're also going to multiply 3 minus 4i. Then that will simply be equal to open bracket 4 plus 3i, and then close bracket 3 minus 4i, and then you say what? Close bracket, and then you say over. Then this one again you can simply do the difference of two squares. So this will be 3 squared minus 4i squared. So after you do that, you can simply, I won't do what I did here, I'll just go direct. I won't expand it the way I did at first. So I'll say 4 times 3, it is 12, and then 4 times negative 4i, it is 16i. Then I'll say 3i times 3, it is positive 9i. And then I'll say 3i times 4i, it's positive 12. Okay, and then over, this will be 9, and then negative times that negative 1, because I squared is negative 1, it will be positive, and then 16. With that in mind, we can now simply collect like terms. 12 and 12, it's simply 24. And then you have negative 16i plus 9i. The answer will simply be what? 7i. The answer will simply be 7i. So it will be negative 7i over 25. So to express this in that particular form, what we are just going to do, we'll just separate these two guys. You say 24 over 25 minus I, then 7 over 25. Then you are done like that. Any question? Any question? Okay. With that being said, since we don't have a question on this particular one, let me quickly move on and look at the next part. Let me move on and look at the next part. So the next part, I'll say solution. So you have been given z to be equal to x plus iy. So this is a very easy question, and you have been asked to find z squared is equal to I. So what you need here is just to replace where there is z, you're going to put what? You're going to put the x plus iy. So you're going to have x plus iy, then squared is equal to what? I. Then this is the same as x plus iy, and then that one x plus iy is equal to what? I. Then after you do that, what you can simply say is that x and that, so you're just going to multiply these guys. You're just going to say x times x is going to be x squared, x times iy, it's going to be plus xiy, and then iy times that, it's going to be plus xiy, and then that one times that one, it's going to be negative y squared is equal to I. So with that in mind, that's what we have. So this can be rewritten as x squared minus I squared, x squared minus I squared, and then you say plus 2xyi is equal to what? I, like that. So with that in mind, you need to understand something. What you need to understand is that this one has the real part, which is plus 0. So you're going to get the real part. The real part, this is the real part. You're going to equate it to the real part. And the imaginary part, you are going to equate it to the what? To the imaginary part. So what you are going to have is x squared minus y squared is equal to 0. Okay, that's what you have. And you are also going to have 2xyi is equal to what? I. So those are the two things that you are going to have. So after doing that, what you are now going to do is to work out those guys there. Kindly unmute yourself. The person who is I don't know, just kindly unmute yourself. Okay, so this is where now the tricky part comes in. So what you're going to do here, you're going to work out this side first. So you're going to say x squared minus y squared is equal to 0. So x squared is equal to y squared. X squared is equal to y squared. So with this in mind, you can simply say x is equal to what? Y. X is equal to what? Y. So this is your equation 1. Then after you do that, you're going to go on the other side. You are going to divide throughout by I. So I, that and that will cancel. So you have 2xy is equal to I into I. It's what? 1. I into I is 1. So when you take x to be equal to y from equation 1, so this is your equation 1. This is your equation 2. So when you take x to be equal to y in equation 2, you're going to have, let me change the color there, you're going to have 2x, and then where there is y, you're going to put x is equal to what? 1. Then from there it will be 2x squared is equal to 1. Then over 2 that and that will go. So you're going to have x squared is simply equal to 1 over 2. So once you reach that stage, you can now introduce the what? The square root, like that. So that one and that one will cancel. So this will be positive or negative. So x will be equal to positive or negative square root 1 over 2. So since x and y are the same, so you are also going to say y is also equal to positive or negative square root 1 over what? 2. So these are the final answers. Any question? Any question before we move on to the last question? Any question? Okay. Yes, what's your question?
Yes, sir. How did you handle those squares on x and y?
I cancelled them. This one and that one. Remember, if x squared is equal to y squared, then that simply means that x is equal to y. If x squared is equal to y squared, then that means x is equal to y. You can borrow the knowledge from rational numbers. Go and watch the video on rational numbers, where irrational numbers, there is where I was trying to prove if square root 2 is irrational. That part you can borrow some knowledge from there. Okay, let's move on and look at this guy here. You know, binary operation is one of the easiest topic and shortest topic, but it has tricky questions. That's the funny part of it. It has tricky questions. So let's quickly look at this guy here. Solution. So here we have been given something whereby we have been taught show that the binary operation is commutative. So I'm going to put my number 1 there. So x star y is equal to the modulus of y minus x over 1 plus xy. So for a binary operation to be commutative, okay, for a binary operation to be commutative, you need to understand that a star b should be equal to what? B star a. A star b should be equal to b star a. Now, with that in mind, we need to understand something. Taking the right hand side, which is a star b, we are going to have a star b to be equal to the what? The modulus of a minus b, and then over 1 plus ab. So after you have such knowledge on a star b and changing it in that way, the way we have changed it, so what you can do now is that this guy, when you use the modulus rules, so when we reach the topic of modulus or we come across a question on modulus, I will explain more about this. So when you look at this guy is the same as a star b is the same as a minus b over 1 plus ab. According, if you check what we did with the first part on modulus expressions, the only thing that changed was the other side, because this modulus can also be written as that modulus can also be written a minus b can also be written as that. That's the same thing. This guy and that guy, they are one and the same. Let me just rewrite that. A minus b, they are one and the same. So if you work out that, then that's the way you can have it. So from here, we can also take the other side. So let's quickly get the other side. So we're going to say, taking the right hand side, taking the left hand side, this is what we are simply going to have. B star A is simply equal to, you're going to have modulus of B minus what? A, and then that, and then there we are going to have what? We are going to have 1 plus BA. So this is where now the game tends to be a bit complicated if at all you don't do some math. So when you have B minus A, like we have it here, this guy can simply be worked on in this way. B star A can be worked on as open bracket -1, okay, then closed. That A will be what? Will be A as maintained. A will be A as maintained, and then negative B will be like that, such that when you multiply -1 times A, it's going to be negative A, which is that one. Negative B times B, -1, it's B, which is that one. So on top, I haven't changed anything. After I do that, the next thing I shall do is, this can be written as the modulus of 1 dot the modulus of A minus B, like that. Then over, we're going to say over 1 plus BA can be written as AB, since multiplication and multiplication is commutative. So after you do that, you're going to say B star A is simply equal to, the modulus of -1, it's what? It's 1. The modulus of -1, it's 1. So this will simply be the modulus of A minus what? B, like that, over 1 plus AB. And this is equal to what we had here, which is A minus B over 1 plus AB. Then you're done. That's why the question show that the binary is what? Commutative. But if you went direct here and you said, oh, this is B minus A over 1 plus A, this will be different from that one. And your answer will be wrong, because they have told you it is commutative. Your job is to prove it, if at all it is commutative. Others might just leave it from there without going further, just there, and they are okay with it, because the key point in this solving, was factorizing here. This is where the key point was here, factorizing a -1. This is where the secret was hidden. The rest was just a walkover and just writing stuffs. So this is where the secret was hidden. Okay, with that in mind, we can for question 2, the question C2, let me quickly look at it. Question C2, I'll write solution. So guys, math is easy when you are following the basics. So if you have thrown away the basics, it looks a little bit challenging, but if you have the basics on your fingertips, you are able to survive no matter what. So for 2, we have x star y is equal to y minus x over 1 plus xy. So you need to work out that. So first thing first is to get what is in the bracket, which is 3 star 1, which is going to be the modulus of 3 minus 1. Remember, where there is x, you're going to put where there is y. Sorry, I have swapped them. Let me just work on that. Okay. So here, where there is y, x star y, where there is y, you are going to put 1, and where there is x, you are going to put 3, like that, over, and then 1 plus c. Where there is x, you are going to put, where there is x, you are going to put 3, and then where there is y, you are going to put what? 1. Then from there, you're going to say 3 star 1 is equal to, so there you're going to have negative 2 modulus over 4 down there, and this will give you 3 star 1 is simply equal to 2 over 4, and this is the same as 1 over 2. So that's for the first guy, which is 3 star 1. When you have 3 star 1, you replace where there is 3 star 1, you replace it with 1 over 2. So what you are going to have now is 2 star 1 over 2 is equal to, you are going to say where there is y, you are going to put 1 over 2. So 1 over 2, and then minus where there is x, you are going to put 2, which is that one there, over then 1 plus 2 times 1 over 2. So this 2 star 1 over 2 is simply equal to, you work out the math there, this will simply be 3 over 2, when you negative 3 over 2, over, you say 1 plus 1, because we know that 2 times half, it is 1. So after you do that, you are going to have negative 3 over 2 divided by what? Divided by 2 there. So this divided by coming from that guy there. This has to be positive because it is a modulus. So this will be positive like that. Then once you are done with that guy, you are now going to just simplify that part, where you're going to say 3 over 2 times 1 over 2, because this is same as 2 over 1. So this will be 3 over 4, and that's your final answer. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any questions? Do you have people with questions before we call it a night?
Sir, I have
Yes.
a question.
Yes.
Where did you get the half, the 1 over 2?
1 over 2, it came from after solving for 3 star 1. After solving for 3 star 1. That's where a 1 over 2 is coming from. After solving for this one here. You get that? Which is this one here in brackets. Is that okay?
Oh, so you replaced what we solved on 3 star 1 with our solution was 1 over 2,
Yes.
which is why we're using 1 over 2.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Any other question?